Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs. Welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla. Hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. It's a beautiful day over here in Sea Haven. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, and you'll notice that something is looking a little different around here, probably because I've also put it in the title of the video. But I decided to do something a little bit different today, because I don't know if you can really tell from my voice. I tend to sound fairly similar most of the time, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I've been caught with a case of the colds. My throat is a little bit scratchy, so you'll have to excuse me if I clear my throat every now and again in the video. I decided to do something a little bit easier today, a little bit more straightforward, and this has been prompted by a release over the weekend of the new vanilla texture pack. Well, not exactly the new vanilla texture pack, because they are still doing this as like a beta release. So obviously they're still looking for feedback on the new textures, but this is starting to look like what Minecraft is going to look like for the foreseeable future, at least if you're one of the people who's going to adopt the new texture pack. And before you start leaving comments just deriding the new texture pack and saying that it's not something you want, bear in mind that you can always stick with the old textures. Mojang have mentioned that they're going to leave the old textures available for use. They're going to make them available as like a classic texture pack, as it were. So you don't have to switch over, but for those of us who are switching over, this is what Minecraft is potentially going to look like for the foreseeable future. This is kind of the first look we're getting at it in-game. And so I thought today I would tour the server with this texture pack on, just to have a look at what we're looking at, a look at what we're working with, see how existing builds are going to look in this texture pack. This is basically the first time I've gone on the server with this on, although we did do a live stream on Twitch the other day where I played a little bit of survival, a little bit of creative, and kind of tried out some stuff. And I'll share with you my thoughts as we have a look around, but I thought we would start over here at Sea Haven and take a look at what we built in the most recent episode, which was the windmill. And right away, you guys can see one of my major problems with this texture pack, and it's the glass. I love the fact that the glass is mostly clear. I'm a big fan of that, but the border around the outside just looks a little bit too bright for my liking. It seems kind of too present. It's a strange way of putting it, I know, but it feels a little bit too bright. If those lines around the outside could be more transparent, or if they could be a slightly more chill color, I think I would be happy with it. But I've never really been super happy with vanilla clear glass panes anyway. I tend to use the stained glass, and stained glass, the texture has not been applied to it yet. I haven't really got any in my inventory so that I could show you, but they haven't applied the same texture here to the different colors of glass. So it's not really something that we can test out right now. But it's going to be interesting to see what other people have feedback-wise about the glass texture, and if they share my thoughts about this. So obviously the cobblestone looks a little bit different, the stone looks a little bit different, the doors have slightly different shading to them, but they're more or less the same. Pretty sure stone slabs are maybe a little bit different, but otherwise mostly unchanged. I prefer the stone bricks. I have to say the stone bricks look a little bit nicer. They've kind of got more of a shine to them, like they've been polished in the crafting table. And the planks, I'm still kind of on the fence about. They look a little bit shinier in spots. They've got more highlights. They've got slightly more contrast to them. And I'm not 100% certain if I like them. But the spruce planks I think I'm okay with for the most part. And yeah, there's a little bit of variation to be explored in those. I do like the wheat and the new hay bales. I think those look particularly good. It's kind of funny now that the hay bale and the wheat don't exactly match in terms of color, but making the hay bale any more pale might potentially take away from other things you could use the block for. So I'm not entirely certain about that, but I wonder how many people's personal texture packs will be correcting the hay bale color to more like the color of this wheat. We will see. We will see. But looking around, there are a couple of small changes to the mobs, but for the most part they have stayed pretty similar. And I think the spider texture was originally changed, but then kind of got changed back. Now, one of the things I am really excited about is the new leaf textures. I love building with leaves, as you guys know, and these leaves look so much better than the original ones. Even the birch leaves are slightly different now. For the most part, they looked similar, but then there's just a subtle difference to them. I'm trying to find a birch tree now, but of course, us being not a particularly birch-friendly society, we have chopped down most of them. Let's see if we can head over to Pixie Island, and I can see a birch tree over there that we can take a quick look at. And for the most part, the leaves around here are all pretty much the same because the oak leaves and dark oak leaves are still similar. I haven't seen an acacia tree yet, so I might need to go and find one of those. But look, the birch leaves are subtly different. They're a little bit more sparse. There's a lot more air between them. But they are very different to the oak leaves. The oak leaves look fantastic. I love the design of these things. They've got so much more of a leafy feel to them, which is wonderful. I'm a big fan. I actually like that a lot. It's going to add so much more character to some other builds that I plan on doing. Now, the sand is pretty good. I think the sand they've done a decent job of that. Cobblestone is very controversial. Some people like it, some people hate it. I'm on the fence. I don't build a whole lot with cobblestone anyway, so I'm not really that fussed about it right now, but maybe if I'm having trouble flying today. I'm not quite sure what the deal is here. Maybe if I built a little bit more with cobblestone, I would be a little bit more sensitive to that, but right now I am not the greatest detractor of the cobblestone. I think that's looking pretty nice. This build is looking pretty nice, by the way. Whose is this? Is this Germ? This looks like it might be a Germ house, or... Oh, this is Whip's professional dirt scaping. Well, that's an interesting one. I like that. And I think Whip is actually the one who's been doing all of the infrastructure, all of the roads and stuff around town. Because, I said it was KB or Ovi perhaps was doing this. I think it's actually him. He's been absolutely nailing it with these episodes lately. He's been putting out a lot of stuff. So I've mentioned him in the last couple of episodes, but I do recommend checking the guy out. He's got some chops. He knows what he's doing. So... what have we got here? Coming soon, need rockets to fly around the rocketry. Future home of. Well, that's... oh, hello. 64 3-second rockets, 1 diamond. I need to top up on this. So this is the ideal shop for me. I've got my diamond box on me and everything. Payment in the chest. Absolutely. Oh, if I could place it the right way around, that'd be great too. So I don't think some stuff has changed. Oh, this is a great opportunity, by the way, to look at the new diamond texture. Because look at this. This is ever so slightly different to what we're used to. It's got more of a faceted look to it. We'll pop that one in there. It's going away. Fantastic. And then these ones are the ones that are generating a bit of controversy because they definitely, in these cases, look more faceted than we are used to. The emerald block kind of looks a little bit more square than we are used to. Definitely higher contrast between these things, and I'm not certain if everybody is going to like those. The gold blocks also look really cartoony, and the ores, as you can see from the inventory right here, I think iron blocks are mostly unchanged, but yeah, there's just a very cartoony quality about these, and I think that's the criticism most people have of the new vanilla textures, is that they're kind of cartoony, and they prefer Minecraft to have a slightly more natural vibe to it. Even up here, like in large quantities, I don't know, there's just something a little bit off about them. I can't quite put my finger on what I would change, but I think it is just the contrast in it. I think if it was maybe... like the contrast was brought down a little bit and it was just meant to imply the shininess without trying to carve it into the blocks, that might make a little bit more sense. So yeah, the iron blocks just have this slight kind of fade to them here. There's a little bit more lighting applied to them, which I think works. I think of all of the resource blocks, I'm probably happiest with that one. Now, the other thing I know I'm super happy about is the mushroom stem texture, because that looked for a while like a white version of a tree, but nobody tended to use it all that much. But this block looks very, very different, and I think that would fit perfectly with something like bone or quartz. Some of the white blocks we have already, they've definitely made mushroom stem blocks a little bit more viable, and I'm hoping that now that you can get mushroom blocks in the creative inventory in 1.13, when they finally introduce these textures, it's going to be more possible to acquire mushroom stem blocks on their own and build with them, because right now it's such a pain to build anything with mushroom stem. You have to grow the mushroom and either push it into place with pistons or just grow it in the spot that you needed it to be, which is very difficult when you're working in an enclosed space. A lot of the other stuff around here is looking mostly the same. The clock tower looks pretty similar. Obviously, that's the thing as well. These resource blocks, if you're building with them and you have little accents like that for the gold blocks, I like that a lot. It actually looks like it's kind of carved gold. It's got some kind of finesse to it instead of just being a raw block of gold. But out there on their own, I'm not certain that I like them so much. Let's take a quick step back here and take a look at the bell. I think for the bell especially, those look kind of nice. So yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think of this. Obviously, leave your thoughts in the comments. But as always, I'm going to tell you guys my preferred way of talking about this stuff is always going to be constructive criticism, not just saying, I don't like this and not giving any kind of reason for it. And respect other people's opinion as well, because people are going to have very different opinions about this kind of thing. So don't go telling anybody that they're wrong just because they think differently to you do. That's not how to have a a civilized discussion about this kind of stuff. Obsidian I'm really happy with, by the way. Obsidian I think actually looks really, really nice. It's lost that kind of like sharp look that it had before. And this block, while it's obviously kind of purpley, still fits more in with like the coal block texture and stuff. And I haven't seen a coal block yet. So maybe we should take a look for some of those as we head over to my jungle base. And already I'm noticing changes that I didn't pick up on in the stream, like the fact that the minecart texture looks very different on the inside, but on the outside, once I can actually see myself, it doesn't look too different. It's still got that kind of pitted look on the outside, but still looks pretty much the same to me. But inside, that's a lot more plain, more shadowy, I suppose, a little bit as well. But yeah, most of this stuff... Oh, a netherrack has changed too, but it's going past slightly too fast right now for me to take a good look at it. But this right here is going to be the make or break stuff. What do my builds look like in the new texture pack? Yes, I still haven't taken down the giant poop. I did need to do that, but I have not quite. Well, that still looks as demonic as ever. And yeah, the shipwreck does look a little bit cartoony. It's funny because if I applied the lively default textures again, you would see the water go away, and the vanilla water looks kind of bright right now, so let me bring this back in on top of that, and we'll see how that makes a change. There you go. Nice to have the skybox back, and nice to have this different water. And obviously, we've not got a great deal of other things changed in the lively default texture pack. We've taken away some of the stuff that they would have changed normally. I think the emerald blocks in this one are actually retextured. They're supposed to be slightly brighter than the current vanilla blocks, but yeah, I'm not sure. The parrots look pretty much the same. Even the boats have taken on the new wood texture, which is interesting. And I kind of liked the mossy look to the bottoms of boats, where they kind of got a little bit more green on them in the more recent updates. Mossy cobblestone, though. Thinking of mossy stuff, mossy cobblestone looks really, really nice as far as I'm concerned. That genuinely looks like a proper moss color. And I kind of wish, in a way, there was a way to have mossy cobblestone adapt its color to different biomes, because in pretty much any biome this is the same, whereas if all natural looking stuff like leaves that change their biome colors was applied to stuff like this as well, where the moss would look a little bit more blue in extreme hills biomes and stuff like that, I really think that would add some more character to those blocks. I am a little bit worried about what I'm going to think as I come through here, because the sandstone texture is one of the things that has changed mightily as far as I'm concerned, but you know, it's not looking too bad. We'll take a quick look from the air, and we'll take a look at some of the other stuff as well. Is the slime different? I think it is subtly different, but I can't quite tell. And yeah, all of my parrots are making zombie noises right now. So let's hop up here. Furnaces look slightly different. That's an interesting one. What the heck is this? Oh my word. Hello. Is that Germ? I'm pretty sure that's Germ. Let's have a quick look at this real fast. What have you done to Nessie, Germ? What have you done? This is going to require some retaliation, I think. Let's take a quick look. Shop at Germ's building shop. Well, I'm not certain if I'm going to, now that you've built a giant face on front of my dinosaur, but we will see about that. Let me take this down real fast. This and the poop are definitely going today. There is no question about that. Do I have any shears on me? I don't, but we will make some. I really wish I could just set fire to it, but unfortunately, fire tick is off and it wouldn't spread in the slightest. Now, what are you doing down there? Oh, you're heading towards one of my villagers, are you? I think not. Get back. I like the fact that the nitwit has gone for a swim. That seems so fitting of a nitwit. Let's take this down. I'll finish doing this off camera, and then we'll talk a little more about some of these textures. Another thing that's become very obvious to me as I walk around this lake is that soul sand looks different. And obviously underneath the lake here, it's not going to be that obvious. But, oh, what is this? Are these acacia leaves? Because those look very different. Interesting. Let me go check out an acacia tree in a second and see if I'm right about that. But yeah, like, the soul sand looks a little bit different. You can't tell too much under the water about how different it looks, but when you go into the nether, it's really apparent that something has changed, especially next to the new netherrack. Something looks very, very different. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. The temple from the outside still looks pretty good. The sandstone texture has a little bit more contrast in it, and I think the cracks are slightly... like, the sections around the cracks are slightly bigger, so I'm not 100% sure if I like that or not. It's still a little bit too different to me. But obviously, from a distance, you really can't tell exactly what's gone into each texture to make it look different. So for the most part, all of this is looking okay. And I think the shield texture has changed as well. Interesting stuff. So if you look in the inventory, you can see a couple of these have changed. Like the apples look a little bit more cartoony and red. They've got a kind of shine to them, like they're properly, like they're the waxed apples that you kind of get in American supermarkets, at least. You don't tend to see too much of that here in the UK. And the sugarcane looks kind of lighter at the top than it does at the bottom, even though when it's just there in the world, I don't think it looks super different. Ferns look crazy. Like, I've just spotted this patch of ferns down here where I was farming them not too long ago, and those look very different. Like, I imagine those in pots would look fantastic. I'm not sure how I feel about them in the wild, though. And the jungle vines look very different, too. I mean, obviously, they're going to be the same vines everywhere, but those look very, very different. And it's kind of patterny, but kind of good at the same time. I don't really know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I've only just seen them for the first time, so jury's still out a little bit. Now, I think those there are the acacia leaves. Yes, these look slightly different from the vanilla ones. They still look a little bit like the same pattern as the oak leaves in original sort of classic Minecraft textures, but these definitely have something different about them. And it's not just the same as the birch leaf, but a different color or something like that. They've definitely got a different vibe to them. And I haven't taken a solid look at spruce leaves yet, so we may have to wander over to somewhere there's a spruce tree and have a gander at those as well. Not a whole lot in here that we can look at. The cocoa bean pods, I think, are mostly unchanged as far as I can tell. By the way, after the last episode when the villagers were just wandering freely around this portal, I did trap a bunch of them in these dirt boxes, but a couple of them seem to have gotten loose. Or maybe I just didn't catch them in the first place. So how about we get some grass and dirt and just box these guys in for a second. Step in there, please. Thank you. And we'll put a torch in there just so you don't end up getting any unwanted zombie attention. And we'll probably just pop a couple more dirt blocks around the side so that they don't get to you from the side, because zombies are terrible for getting these things around corners. But there we go. Here we are over at the giant skeleton, and I don't really have bone blocks here, so it's a little bit difficult to show that. But the quartz I am definitely happier with, I think. My big problem with quartz in vanilla right now is that it's got a really present border around it, which tiles really obviously, and so I don't like building large walls with it or anything like that. But the new quartz I'm a lot happier with. Let me eat something real fast, because I'm starting to lose a little bit of those hunger points. So I wonder if we've got any quartz in any of these chests that I can take a quick look at. Doesn't look like it. I've had a look around and there doesn't seem to be much we can grab from here. But look at this, though. This is just... It's just subtly different. It's kind of interesting how... To most people who play Minecraft, you probably wouldn't notice all that much. But if you play as regularly as we do, or you play in a very specific style, like if you're a builder and you're looking at the textures and how blocks go together, this is definitely a significant change. And it's one that's going to divide a lot of people. I know that. I'm not certain if everybody is going to like what they see. But remember, this is still at the stage where Mojang is asking for feedback. This is still very much like a beta snapshot style version of the texture pack. So if you are interested in giving your feedback, I recommend dropping it into the Minecraft suggestions subreddit or talking to the guy who's doing the pixel art on Twitter. He goes by Japper or Jasper, and yeah, it's going to be worth sharing our thoughts at this stage in the game, because a lot can still change. And remember, what they're planning on doing here is to unify the visual style of Minecraft, because some people think that the latest textures, the ones that have been designed under Jeb's leadership of Mojang, have been kind of stylistically different from the ones that Notch originally designed and that have been designed in the years since then. So it's kind of interesting to me to see how everything is going to be simultaneously the same and also very, very different. And I've got to say that I think this is a very, very risky and very bold move by Mojang at this point. And while obviously it's not going to please everybody, I think there's still going to be a lot of people who are put off by this, who prefer the old textures, who might even consider leaving Minecraft because Mojang is willing to change it to this degree, because a lot of people are going to find this change very, very important, and in some cases probably even more important than the combat changes that happened in 1.9. Ow, those are coal blocks up there, by the way. I wanted to look at them before I fell down this hole. I think it is important and significant that they are still so intent on changing and growing and developing Minecraft that they're making changes like this almost 10 years into the game's life. I don't know of any other game in the world that has had this kind of longevity, except for maybe stuff like World of Warcraft, where significant changes happen all the time. You have events like that, you have cataclysms, you have things that apply huge changes to the world and the way people play the game, and a lot of people don't necessarily like them at the time, but ultimately they end up shaping the landscape of the game itself and changing the way people play. Stuff like this, I feel, is kind of crucial to maintaining a game's long life and making sure people want to play it long into its future. And a lot of people are going to say that something like the modding API that they've talked about in the past, or the plugin API as it's been latterly referred to, and other changes like that, allowing the community slightly more access to making the game what they want, is a more effective strategy than changing all of the textures halfway through. But it totally depends on the kind of person you are, because I'm the kind of person who enjoys changes to the vanilla game and has only recently gotten into the modded scene. And I really don't know if it's the kind of thing I would want to explore if Mojang just kind of gave up on making significant changes to vanilla. So having changes like this occur really starts to shake things up for me, and rather than just decide I dislike it right off the bat because it's making things look different and I'm so obsessed with the way things look in Minecraft, I'm thinking about how I can bend this to my advantage, what I can do with these new textures that I wasn't able to do before, and potentially what we can carry into the future and what we can shape as players of this game while these textures are still kind of in development. So those are my thoughts on it, really. And if you guys want to see anything in particular from this texture pack, let me know, and maybe we can do a build with it in the next episode, because I am running out of time here, and to be honest, I'm running out of energy because I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather. So I am probably going to leave you with those thoughts and continue clearing up here, move the villagers into the little skeleton section in my own time, and leave you with that. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Decidedly Vanilla. I know it's been a bit of a different one. I don't tend to talk at you and do these kind of walk around and ramble episodes very often. So often I have building projects that I want to get on with, but I feel like this is a really significant change that's coming up, and I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments. I'll probably pick out a couple of comments and maybe respond to them in the next episode if you guys have points that I think are kind of interesting about this whole texture change. But like I said, remember, be constructive, be civil about it. Remember that other people will have different opinions to you, so don't just go saying that somebody else is wrong because you don't agree with them. Let's see what kind of discussion comes out of this. But for now, my name has been Pixlriffs. Leave a like on the episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'm off to clean all of this stuff up. Bye for now.